Hello and welcome to the 30k channel dedicated to games set in the Horus Heresy. I'm your host, David Brains, and I am being joined by Alistair. Good morning, Alistair.
Morning.
Yes.
Here we go.
The final game of Harvest on the Black Sands. It's here at last.
Yes, yeah, it's been, nearly kind of 6 months now? Yeah, of filming. So yeah, it's been
a journey.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I've kind of, at the start, I wasn't doing a master's, I didn't own a bungalow, and now I do.
God damn it.
It's been a journey.
Life has moved on since we started this 500-point campaign. Look at the beast it's become now. Holy hell. Well, we are finally here. It is November.
Yes.
Wow. So I think we started back in, I think May, maybe April, May. Can't quite remember.
Yeah, it must have been about that, yeah.
Ages ago.
I think I've been painting since January.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. You paint a lot of gear. Let's quickly remind ourselves about this campaign.
Yes.
Alistair, give me the real top line. Give me it.
Sure. So this is set just before the Siege of Terra.
Yes.
So the Beta Garment system is kind of where a big battle's fought. But before that battle's fought, Horus sends a whole bunch of armies in the systems around Beta Garment to try and draw Imperial forces away from that so that the battle's easier at Beta Garment to get into the solar system.
Got you.
This is set on one of those worlds, Alpha Garment. So it's a kind of black world covered in black sand. It's a Mechanicum mining facility.
Yes.
And so that's why the Mechanicum are there, and they're kind of defending it. Sons of Horus are a raiding pack, initially just sent to raid the area, but they found a crashed Thunderhawk, led them underground to where some psychers were kept.
Yes.
They found some more psychers. And so in this, the final game, there's a chaos gate that has been created. It leads straight into the webway underneath Terra. Ooh. And the Sons of Horus are harvesting all the psychers on this world that they found in this mining facility to basically pump them straight into the Siege of Terra, straight underneath Terra, and so completing the harvest.
Yeah.
Mechanicum trying to stop them. They've ambushed the site around that gate. And so they're trying to shut off those reinforcements from going under the webway. So that's the kind of brief overview of those games that have happened.
Well, hopefully you've been following on at home. Don't forget, this has gone out on YouTube and the website. I would obviously love you to watch this game on the website, on YouTube, and then go to subscribe to the website, because subscribers keep this channel going, and that's just a fact. I cannot fund it out of my own pocket. So thank you to everyone who has gone on to subscribe to the website. So hopefully you've been following Mechanicum, and they've discovered the plans that the Sons of Horus have kind of hatched, and it's all culminated in this final get those psychers through the portal and reinforce Horus. So I think when we started on the outset, we hadn't quite worked out where it was going. We knew where the 2 or 3 sort of games went, and after that we were kind of like, oh, not too sure. But Games Workshop made an amazing piece of terrain.
Yes.
This gate, I can't remember quite what it's called. Noctilus Crown, I think it's called.
Wow, okay.
Or the Noctilus Crown. An amazing piece of terrain.
Yes, absolutely. It's huge.
It's a beast.
Bigger than this.
You can put your fist through it. Whatever that means.
That's the measure of success.
Yes.
I can't put my fist through any of those. We can with the gate.
It's like one of those games you have electric and you go around and go, you like, put your wrist in for you're bleeding out. You'll bleed out. So yes, the board is very, very sparse. But to mitigate that, we've got a special rule, haven't we?
Yes. So the Chaos Gate is kind of producing all sorts of warp energies, and being a very, very chaotic army at the minute, there's kind of we said in the early games that I'm really trying to capture that aesthetic of those kind of Chaos Space Marines from the classic 2nd edition look. So kind of the whole area is infused with this power of chaos. So any units wholly within 18 inches of the centre of this Chaos Gate get a 5 invulnerable save.
Yes.
Now, you can try and disrupt those energies. So it basically functions like a vehicle. It's armour value 12 all the way around. If you do 3 hull points to it, that effect goes away for that shooting phase. So you can try and disrupt those energies in that shooting phase, or just think, well, actually, I'm better off just trying to kill stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really the decision's yours.
Yeah, and the reason why we've done that is because when Alistair deploys his units, he's virtually got no cover. And the Mechanicum are approaching, as per the ambush mission, 12 inches on the long table judges. So we've got a few rocks on one side and we're emerging from a city from the other. So it does help Alistair out a huge amount, I think, because if not, I think it would just be a bit of a one-sided game. But as Alistair said, I need to make a decision. Do I get those 3 hull points off at the beginning of the phase? Then it gets rid of the invulnerable save. Not quite sure. It just depends on what happens.
And it will work like a super heavy.
Yeah.
Insofar as if you do a vehicle destroyed result, it's D3 plus 1 hull points. So you could fluff it and only do 2 in that case. So yeah, it's a risk reward. It
is, and because it might take me 2 units to reduce the save, and then that will reduce my firepower coming at Alistair. So it's not like we've just gone, let's just make it up. We have kind of thought about it. We agonised quite a long time about what to do.
Yeah.
But we've done it. In regards to the forces, the only thing that the Mechanicum have taken, we've got an extra Venator and we've taken some more Thalax. Alistair, what have you got?
So, if you'd have watched the last game, you would have known that my plan was to get a Typhon done.
Yeah.
I've been doing a Masters and had lots of assignments and stuff to write, so I just haven't had the free time to do that, unfortunately. But I have 4 Knights just kind of sat around in a case. So I've bought the Acheron. It's my favourite of the Knights. Absolutely love it. It kind of neatly rounds off the army up to 3,000 points without having to have rushed through painting that Typhon. So so just the Typhon, just the Cerastus Knight-Acheron's new, and also the veteran squad has really tooled up with plasma. There's about kind of 6 or 7 plasma guns in there. So that'll be fun when I get to use that. But yeah, that's it in terms of new stuff for me.
Yeah, we'll see. That Knight's going to be tough. So, it has its ion shield, and then also it's got its invulnerable save all the way around now, thanks to the gate if you stay within. So, but let's not forget, you've got a 36-inch deployment zone, and essentially you can be on me turn 1.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So
very scary.
I think that's the thing about ambush is that you have the real benefit of pretty much getting at least a side shot or a rear shot on all my vehicles from turn 1.
Yeah.
And I've got the advantage of just being able to press really close to you. So I think, it's an interesting deployment map that they've added in. Yeah. I think in some cases it can really balance the games, but again, we've thought about it a lot. How are we going to make sure that it kind of creates an interesting game? So
yeah, and I believe because you're a defender, you'll deploy first, go first. Is that right? So I think in most circumstances you just roll off and then you deploy for go first. But we'd say that obviously Alistair's deploying, so he'll go first, and then that will kind of help me out a little bit because I've got to deal with not only 3k of Sons of Horus, but I'll deal with the shield on that to warp gate, and then I've got to deal with the first turn as well. So I'll try and seize. We know how that always goes very badly, but I think it'll work out.
Hopefully for me.
It's funny, isn't it? We've had a few comments on the last video. Someone commented that the Thunderhawk always seems to be crashing. So maybe just the Mechanicum got bad pilots. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe there's just like nothing but Thunderhawks on the planet, and
we just get rid of it. It's fine. Need to lose some assets. But also as well, there's a couple of comments on there, and I don't usually pick up on comments, but it does frustrate me sometimes that a lot of people questioned our decision making in the last game. But I think the thing is, if you want us to play an absolutely perfect strategic game, then there's no point playing because we can just fudge the result all the time. And I think when you're playing a game, you've got the lights on you, the cameras on you, you've got the pressure of the game, and you don't always make the 100% perfect decisions. Yeah. And so I think it's a little unfair to say that we made bad decisions because until you're actually at the channel filming a game, you think you can sit at home behind your computer and go, oh, well, I wouldn't have shot that, I wouldn't have done this, I wouldn't have that. But until you're here actually doing it, I think I don't think you can say that. I think it's a bit unfair.
Yeah. I think it's a bit like a game of football. Like, the players won't make a perfect decision every time because they're right in the heat at the moment.
Exactly right.
So
yeah, just bear that in mind. Don't be mean. Anyway, let's get on with it. We're going to do the army list. There's not massive different changes between the last list, but we'll go through them nonetheless, and then we'll get on to turn 1.
Fantastic.
Let's do it. Before we get going, we just forgot one thing. Now, throughout this game, we've been trying to capture the cargo of the Thunderhawk and various objectives throughout the game to capture a Harpy command module.
Yes, and in all honesty, we forgot them during the previous games, but we thought, you know what, that's kind of okay. It's all been building towards this final big game. So at the minute, we're going to this final game. Me with 3 of the modules. Yes. David with 2, and they're going to function a bit like command points. So either you can use kind of one module to do something that's worth 1 point, or kind of say you've got 3 like I have, I can use 2 points for one thing, 1 point for another thing. So a bit like command points in 40k. So we've each got, well, I've got, the maximum is 3 command points that we've got. So we go up to the level 3 on the Harpy command modules. So the first one for 1 point is a small blast. It's haywire and fleshbrain assault. It's kind of one use only. So I could do that 3 times. You could do that twice.
It's almost like a satellite orbiting the planet, and it beams down and just fries something. So 1 use.
Yep. So 2 points. Either you can give 1 unit outflank, or at the start of a shooting phase, you can say, right, I'm going to bombard the area with some kind of like flash or blind kind of grenades that then would cause D3 units to snap shoot.
Yes.
So you could get 1, could get 3. And finally, with 3 points, you can either add or detract 1 from a single reserve roll, which again is 1 use only. So it kind of opens up a bit of flexibility in how we spend the points.
Yeah.
So I could do, you know, the thing that costs 1 3 times, or I could do different combinations. So and
we haven't quite decided yet. It'll be situational, so we might decide when to do it. We don't have to do them all in turn. Is it 1 per turn, or we can do all 3 in 1 turn? Whatever we want. So so we'll see how that plays out. Obviously, a little bit worried about the haywire, because I've got a ton of tanks. I don't want you to mince out one of my tanks.
And then I can't use the much cooler effects if I kind of start doing stuff like that. This is true. So we'll see. We'll see.
We'll draw it to attention when we use them.
Absolutely.
Just wanted to cover that up nicely before we go into the first turn. 3,000 points of Ordo Reductor, led by an Arch-Magos Reductor. The Warlord trait is Master of Mechanisms. Leading the Mechanicum is an Arch-Magos Reductor. He's equipped with Melter Bombs, a Melter Gun, has the Jin Sky ability, a Cyber Familiar, and 2 Cyber Ocularis. The second troop's choice is a 7 Thalax Cohort, 2 Photon Thrusters, 5 Lightning Guns, 7 Melter Bombs, and again has the Destructor special rule. Troop's choice 3 is identical to Troop's choice 2. The fourth and final troop's choice is a 6 Thalax Cohort, 2 multi-melters, 6 melter bombs, 4 lightning guns, and the Destructor special rule. The army also includes 2 dedicated transports in the form of 2 Trios armour conveyors. Each has extra armour, and they will be transporting 2 of the Thalax into battle. Running Ordo Reductor allows the army to take 4 heavy support choices. So heavy support choice 1 and 2 is a squadron of 2 Cryos Venators with no upgrades. Heavy support choice 3 and 4 are 2 separate Kragnos assault tanks. They have been upgraded to take Blessed Auto Simulacra.
3,000 points of Sons of Horus, led by a Praetor. They are running the Long March Rite of War. Leading the Sons of Horus is a Praetor. He's armed with a bolt pistol, a paragon blade that's been mastercrafted, melter bombs, digital lasers, and an iron halo. He has the Master of Vanguard Warlord trait, which allows him and all units within 12 inches to add 1 to run and charge moves. First elite's choice for the Sons of Horus is a talon of 2 identical contemptors. They're both armed with a Keres pattern assault cannon, a dreadnought chain fist with an inbuilt graviton gun. Second elite's choice is a unit of 5 Justerian Terminators. The unit is equipped with 3 power fists, 2 chain fists, 1 of which is on the sergeant, and a multi-melter. The third and final elite's choice is a unit of 10 veteran Space Marines. The third and final elite's choice for the Sons of Horus is a unit of 10 veterans. They're armed with full combi plasmas, melter bombs, and 2 plasma guns. The sergeant has a combi plasma and a power fist. They have a dedicated transport of a Rhino, which is equipped with a dozer blade. The Sons of Horus have 2 nearly identical troops choices, made up of 10 tactical Space Marines with a dedicated Rhino with a dozer blade. The only difference is one sergeant has a power fist, the other a power sword. First fast attack choice is a unit of 3 identical land speeders.
Each is armed with a pintle-mounted Volkite culverin and a hull-mounted heavy bolter. Second and best fast attack choice is a Primaris Lightning Strike Fighter. It's armed with 4 wing-mounted Kraken Penetrator heavy missiles, battle server to control, and ground tracking auguries. Moving on to heavy support, the first choice is a Sakaran Venator, equipped with a Dozer Blade and armoured ceramite. The final unit for the Sons of Horus is a Spartan Assault Tank. It's armed with a Dozer Blade, armoured ceramite, and 2 sets of quad las cannons. Lord of War choice for the Sons of Horus is a Cerastus Knight-Acheron.
Alistair, we've deployed.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough deployment.
Yeah, with ambush it always is. Because as a defender, I'm on the back foot a little bit, but I can position myself to get some first turn charges. So you've had to mitigate that a little bit with your deployment. So yeah.
The Mechanicum, particularly worried about that knight. It's extremely close. And you did deploy it completely one side, and I thought about deploying everything the other side, but it's quite fast. I might be able to mitigate it for a turn, but I don't know. But on the other side, you've got the Spartan with the Iteron, which is always got to take notice of that. You've put a lot in reserve, though.
Yep. So in reserve, I've got a unit of veterans. I've used 2 of my Harpy command module points to do that.
Okay.
So that unit of veterans actually also has machine killer.
Great.
So either they'll be appearing over there and wasting time, or they're appearing over here and hopefully doing some damage. And I've also got a plane to come in, the lightning, and 3 land speeders. So there's a lot still to go on. You've got some reserves as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I just reserved the Kraknos assault tanks because right now they're only really good against infantry and those land speeders, and they are not going to get out of their transports. I'm not going to be able to crack them out for at least a couple of turns. So if I can delay that a little bit later on, that will really help. I thought about putting them down to give you multiple targets, but I think you're clever enough not to fall for that trick.
Okay.
So I did reserve them. We will find out if it's the right decision or not. I don't know.
Big roll.
I am going to try and seize. I really need to seize. But before we go any further, good luck.
Yeah. Well, final game. Here we go.
I'm excited to conclude it. But let's get a roll. Go on.
Oh,
diggity dog.
What a relief.
I rolled a 3.
Sorry. Sons of Horus, turn 1.
Sons of Horus, turn 1 movement phase. The Knight has pushed up incredibly aggressively towards the 2 Venators. Could be taking some bait there from David, but we'll see. The 2 Dreadnoughts have pushed forward again, trying to just spread the line a little bit and keep the Mechanicum penned into the back. The Iteron have been incredibly aggressive. They've got out of their Spartan, which has moved 6 inches upwards, preparing for a multi-assault against the transport and the Venator. So hopefully that will go off for me. The 2 Rhinos have just kind of moved around the deployment zone, trying not to be too vulnerable for firepower. And finally, the Venator has lined up a shot against its opposing number to try and kill one before the Knight goes in. Sons of Horus, turn 1 shooting phase. Opening things up was the Venator, and what a start. Fired on one of the Kriaris Venators with its laser destroyer, exploding one of them with 1 shot. Fantastic work. Spartan then fired all of its weapons at the armoured conveyor. Thanks to the flare shield, the armoured conveyor is armour value 15 effectively. So with last cannons needing 6s, nothing happened. The Iteron then fired with their multi-melter into the transport, scoring a single hull point with a weapon destroyed result, destroying the rightmost Volkite Sentinel. Concluding the turn 1 shooting phase for the Sons of Horus were the 2 contemptors. So the first one fired up into a unit of Thalax with its Kerry's assault cannon, killing one of them, which was fantastic, and the other one couldn't actually see anything at all, so it made a 6-inch run to get involved in the action. Sons of Horus turn 1 assault phase. Knight-Acheron started things off, needing 8 inches to charge into the Venator, unfortunately only rolling a 3, so nothing happened at the back. However, the Justerin, with their multi-charge into both the Venator and the transport, failed to charge the Venator, but with the roll over 5 managed to make it into the transport, so hopefully that will die this turn. Rather predictably, despite some terrible dice rolls, the Justerin minced the Triaris and have wrecked it and forced the Thalax to disembark. The Thalax passed their pinning check. So end of turn 1 for the Sons of Horus. It's been an okay turn. I've removed some of the tanks that I wanted to kill, but unfortunately there's still 3 Venators hanging around, so that'll be bad news, I think, for some of my vehicles, but we'll see what happens.
Order Reductor turn 1 movement. Well, the first Cross Venator was destroyed thanks to the Sikaran Venator of the Sons of Horus. So this one has just trickled round to get a side armour on that knight. Of course, Alistair will probably move his shield in that general direction, but we will see what happens. And then on this side, the entire army has moved into a position where we will hopefully take the Warlord and those Justerin down. We know from previous games how tough those Justerin are, so the entire army has moved into a position to get a line of sight. There is nothing that can't draw a bead on them. The most important thing here, though, is the Archmagos Reductor has detached from any unit and has moved closer to the Venator, and will pass his +1 ballistic skill onto that unit to give them a better ballistic skill. Other than that, we're in an okay position with only losing the Venator and the Trials in the first turn of the Sons of Horus, so we shall see how it goes. Order Reductor, turn 1 shooting. We hoped for the luck of the Sons of Horus in our turn of shooting to take the knight in a 1-shot, but it was not meant to be. 4 shots ran out from the Kryos Venator into the knight, got 3 hits, 2 glances and 1 pen, and Alistair made all of his 4-up iron shields saves. What a lucky boy. The Archmagos Reductor passed +1 ballistic skill onto the Kryos Venator unit just next to him. They fired 8 shots into the Sons of Horus and managed to kill 4 of those Justerin Terminators. We nearly took the Warlord, but Alistair made his lookout Sir rolls to great effect. So left in that unit is the HQ and 1 Terminator. The cohort of Thalax to the left of the screen there fired into the Justerin and the Praetor, but only managed to put one wound on the Justerin Terminator. This unit here, half are on top of the Triaris and the other half are down below. They managed to finish off the Justerin Terminator and put 2 wounds on the HQ. He only has 1 wound left. We desperately need this to get Warlord. We now have a unit of Thalax in the building. The unit of Thalax that disembarked from their Triaris armoured conveyor opened up with 2 multi-melters into the Praetor. 2 hits, 2 wounds. Alistair made one of his 4-up Iron Halo saves, but one of them got through and finally took the last wound off the Praetor. That is a great win for the Thalax over on this side of the board. We still have some Thalax in the building that we're going to shoot at the HQ, but we decided to shoot the other unit first, and they will try and score a few hull points on that Spartan. The Thalax cohort in the building fired 4 photon thruster shots and 4 lightning gun shots, combined with the Cyber Ocularis for a -1 cover and -2 for Jin's sight. They managed to put 3 hull points on that Spartan and destroyed the heavy bolter on the front of it. So that was a really great result. They are going to charge. Don't forget, because the list is running Order Reductor, they do not suffer the negatives for charging through cover. We do need a good roll though, so we'll get to that very shortly. Order Reductor, turn 1 assault phase. This unit on the left-hand side moved back into the safety of those crates with the 7-inch thrust move. The unit that was in the building that was going to charge the Spartan only rolled a 5 for their charge move. They needed a 7. This unit here went back 10 inches just to try and mitigate the Sons of Horus' outflanking moves. The Major stayed where he is, and this unit here that disembarked from the Triaros moved 10 inches into the cover of that building, and the Cyber Ocularis there moved on top of the building just to get a bit of a line of sight for that -1 cover. I have no doubt in the next turn that the Mechanicum will lose that Venator over in the far corner there, but it might distract that Acheron and the Venator for another turn, keeping them away from the main force of the Mechanicum.
Sons of Horus, turn 2 movement phase. All of the reserves have arrived this turn, including the veterans. Now, they've really arrived on the wrong end of the table. However, this frees up the Knight and the Sakaran Venator to move up the table towards where the majority of the Sons of the Mechanicum forces are, as they'll probably destroy that Venator. Elsewhere on the board, the Speeders have arrived and are going to put some threats into the Thalax surrounding them. The plane has come on and will be shooting down into where the Mechanicum are, and the Spartan and Dreadnought have moved up to really pin them in. I've really got the Mechanicum in a box at the minute. They're very dangerous in that box, but if I can keep them pinned in, hopefully the Sons of Horus will emerge victorious. At the end of the Sons of Horus movement phase, the Cyber Ocularis next to the Venators gave them Interceptor. They took a chance, needing 6s to hit with 8 shots. Got a mighty 3 shots, which scored 3 penetrating hits. The Lightning went ballsy and didn't jink, meaning that it just crashed and burned in the middle of nowhere, hurting no one else, but crucially killing it before it could fire. That might be a big moment. Sons of Horus, turn 2 shooting phase. Racing up the battlefield, the Cerastus Knight-Acheron used its flank speed rule to roll 3d6 when running, moving a mighty 15 inches. That's taken it 27 inches up the board this turn. Hopefully then, there's going to be some real pressure on the Mechanicum next turn. The veterans then fired all of their plasma weaponry, all the combi plasma, into the Venator. Rather predictably, with their machine killer special rule, managed to destroy it. However, they only did 4 hull points, so it was only 1 more than was necessary, but it is removed from the game. The Speeders then took their turn, firing into the Thalax in front of them, managing to score a mighty 7 wounds, despite this time not cheating by having AP4 Volkite. Looking to repeat the success of the Land Speeders, the Contemptor then fired at the same unit. However, despite a lot of noise coming from his weaponry, nothing happened, both from the Keres and the Graviton gun. The Spartan then fired at the Venators. They really need to be dealt with because they'll punish the Knight later on in the game. However, despite only 1 quad last cannon being able to see, nothing happened. The Sakaran Venator then fired at the Triaris armoured conveyor, scoring 1 hit of 2 and a glancing hit. Concluding the Sons of Horus shooting phase, the Rhinos and the Tactical Marines inside them fired at one of the squads of Thalax, managing to cause a wound, which was irritating for the Mechanicum. Sons of Horus turn 2 assault phase. The Contemptor Dreadnought attempted to make a charge into the Thalax. 4 lightning guns fired Overwatch, doing nothing. The Dreadnought needed an 11-inch charge to get in, even with fleet. Didn't make it, unfortunately. End of Sons of Horus turn 2. The Mechanicum have really been kept in their box. We're keeping them in there with pressure from all sorts of units. However, the damage is just not being done. They're proving really resilient, so it's still anyone's game.
Widow Reductor, turn 2 movement. Reserves were okay. The Mechanicum managed to get one of their Kraknos assault tanks onto the board. It's had to go over on the far left-hand side here because over on the right it's very, very cramped. But thanks to the 60-inch range of those Kraknos missiles, they will be able to target the land speeders, which is what I am looking for. This Thalax unit here that took cover behind the crates has stepped forward. Depending on how the Kraknos performs, they will either go into the land speeders or they will try and chip that final hull point off that Spartan. Remember, we have chosen vehicles for our Blood Feud targets. We need to do those. The Thalax unit here have moved in position. They will again either go into the Contemptor or the Spartan, and then the Archmagos Reductor has moved forward. The Venators cannot fire as they intercepted the lightning out of the sky in the previous turn, so they have moved back to stay away from the Knight and the Venator if possible. The Trios moved 12 inches to create some space in the back, and then the Thalax have moved aggressively forward. Haven't quite decided what's happening with them. They will either target the Rhinos to score some points for the blood feud target, or they will try and pour some shots into that Knight. The Mechanicum may use their Harpy command module this turn and reduce the firepower of some of those units coming back, but we'll make a decision and come back. Auto Reductor, turn 2 shooting. The Kraknos Assault tank fired its Radphage missiles high up into the air, using the Cybot Ocularis as its targeting device. Hit square onto those land speeders. Got 6 hits, which was pretty fantastic. All of those barrages hit, but only managed to roll 1-5, putting one on one hull point and causing it to snap shoot next turn. That was pretty appalling. Now we've got to rely on the Thalax to shoot into those land speeders. The Thalax in front of the land speeders then opened up. Got 2 hits with the lightning guns, 2 hits with the photon thrusters, and that was enough to destroy the 2 lead land speeders and put the final one on a hull point and make it snap shoot. That was a fantastic round of shooting from the Thalax. The Trios Armoured Conveyor fired its twin-link monobolt cannon onto the front of that Rhino just to try and get a hull point off if possible, but it hit 3 times but failed to penetrate the front armour of the Rhino, which is a bit unfortunate. This unit here, after having +1 ballistic skill boosted by the Archmados Reductor next to them, fired into the Sons of Horus Contemptor Dreadnought in front of them, managed to get a glancing hit with a photon thruster, but it passed its blind check. After about 10 minutes of agonising decisions, the decision was made for this multi-melter unit, 2 multi-melters and 4 lightning guns firing into the side of the Acheron. The shield was on the front, but the Knight also got its 5 up from being within its deployment zone of the gate. But an amazing result. One of the multi-melters went through and caused a pen, but we didn't explode it, unfortunately. But the 2 lightning guns went through and caused a damage of 3 hull points in total. There is 3 left to go on that Knight, and then the Mechanicum might be able to breathe easy. 4 photon thruster shots and 3 lightning guns rang out from the building into the Acheron. Loads of hits, but the Acheron made all of its shield saves. What a shame. At the end of Auto Reductor turn 2, the turn has actually taken about 40 minutes. There's been a lot of deciding, a lot of moving. But anyway, we're here now, it's done. The thrust moves on the units weren't amazing. This front unit got 4, only barely got back into the building. The unit at the front there managed a 5. The unit behind rolled a 7, I believe, and just stood back a little bit. And then this unit here got a massive 7, which put them out of range of line of sight of anything in the Sons of Horus army. It's going to be really tight. That Knight is closing in real quick, and the Venator is poised, ready to take out some vehicles. Let's see what happens.
Sons of Horus turn 3 movement. The Venator at the back of the board, acting like a bit of a goalkeeper in the Sons of Horus deployment zone, has moved back to deal with the Kraknos that's just emerged. The veterans have popped back into their Rhino and are going to race up towards the battle at the other end of the board. The land speeder, now only firing snapshots and feeling a bit vulnerable, has hidden behind the storage container and might take some shots up at the Cyber Ocularis later. The 2 dreadnoughts have moved around again to keep pressure and keep the Mechanicum penned in. One of them may be able to do a charge later in the game, so that will be great. The Knight has pushed up to deal with some of the Thalax, particularly the units that's vulnerable due to that very, very low thrust move at the end of Mechanicum's last turn. So really hoping some damage can come out of the Cerastus there. Sons of Horus, turn 3 shooting phase. And what a start. Once more proving why they're one of the best units in the whole of 30k. The goal-keeping Venator in the back of the Sons of Horus deployment zone destroyed a Kraknos with its laser destroyer. The Rhino at the back of the board with the Embarked veterans has moved flat out, again trying to push towards the battle. The land speeder then shot up at the Cyber Ocularis. Despite needing 6s to hit with its Volkite, managed a single hit, which wounded. The Cyber Ocularis then failed its armour save, killing it. Spartan then fired at the Krios Venator with both its quad last cannons. Bit of a wet set of shots from it, only causing a single glancing hit that was then saved by cover. This turn, the Mechanicum used their Harpy command module to cause D3 units to snap shoot in this shooting phase. One was rolled, which affected the Knight, so the Knight is snap shooting this turn. The firepower from the Knight and the 2 Rhinos behind it and the tactical squads inside it managed to strip a mighty 1 wound off the Thalax in front of them. Not ideal. Sons of Horus turn 3 assault phase. Both walkers, big and small, got stuck in. The Contemptor charged the Thalax unit at the back, taking a single glancing hit due to Overwatch. However, the invulnerable save was passed, so that was great news. The Cerastus Knight-Acheron then charged into the Thalax, taking 2 hull points on the way in from Overwatch, leaving it on a single one. Somehow, I don't think it's going to survive this combat, but hopefully it can do a lot of damage before it goes. Incredible work from the Contemptor. Despite doing no damage from its Hammer of Wrath, it got 4 hits and 3 wounds, outright killing 3 Thalax. Beautiful. The Mechanicum then struck back. Only 2 of them were in range to use their melter bombs, causing 1 penetrating hit, which destroyed one of the weapons. Fortunately for the Contemptor, it was the Keres Pattern Assault Cannon, so he's still swinging with that fist. At the end of the combat, the Mechanicum passed their leadership test, so combat continues. The Knight then kicks things off in its combat with a Hammer of Wrath, killing one of the Thalax, a Destroyer hit, causing 6 plus d6 wounds, killing another Thalax, and finally with a Glancing Blow hitting the last Thalax, causing 2 wounds to it. The Knight being on its final hull point, the Thalax then needed a critical set of rolls with their melter bombs. 3 attacks, 2 hits, causing 1 glancing hit and 1 penetrating hit, destroying the Knight. So it will explode in a minute, however we're going to resolve the stomp attacks first. The Knight then makes its stomp attack, causing only a single stomp, however a 6 was rolled on the table, deleting 2 Thalax from existence. We're now going to resolve the explosion. The Knight exploded. A mighty explosion rung out across the battlefield, and when the dust settled, nothing had happened. Nothing was even caught in the explosion. End of turn 3 for the Sons of Horus. They're continuing to protect that Chaos Gate, keeping it open for the Psykers. The Mechanicum are still penned in to one corner of the board. Hopefully that will continue. Some real damage has been done to the Thalax this turn. However, they've done some damage in return, so it's still a really tense game.
Order Reductor, turn 3, movement phase. Reserves were good. The Kraknos assault tank came in. Now, you would have thought the Mechanicum would have learnt coming over on this side of the board with that Venator staring them down, but they have a plan. So hopefully the lightning locks will take out that Venator. If not, we've got a bit of a backup from the Venators over here, although I would love to take a Rhino out with them. So we'll have to see what happens. The Triaris Armour Conveyor has made a ram attack against the Rhino, which will resolve at the end of the phase. The 2 Thalax there have moved up in position to try and take the Rhino out. Remember, that is our blood food target, and we need to do it. The Magos here, Archmagos Reductor, he will join the combat against the Contemptor and the Thalax. I think the Thalax is going to really struggle, particularly if the Contemptor rolls well. And this unit has moved up. They might charge into the Contemptor, or they'll shoot into the Spartan, and then this unit will then shoot behind the Spartan into the Dreadnought, or they will shoot the Spartan. So there's a lot of decisions to be made, but we're trying to reduce the Sons of Horus firepower. At the end of the movement phase, the Triaris Armour Conveyor made its ram attack with its shock prow. The Haywire attack caused a glance, but because the Rhino is wholly within 18 inches of that gate, the gate saved the Rhino with an invulnerable save. But the Strength 9 attack went through and put a glancing hull point on that Rhino. Order Reductor, turn 3 shooting, started pretty badly. The Kraknos fired its ordnance barrage high up into the air, targeted the land speeder, but didn't manage to take the final hull point. All they needed was a single 5, and it was failed. The Lightning Sentinels fired forwards into that Venator, but failed to cause any damage. That is very, very disappointing. After an agonising decision, the two Kraus Venators decided to target the Rhino in front of them and not the Venator. It was a very, very tricky shooting phase. 4 shots rang out from the Venators. 8 shots rang out. There was 6 hits, 5 pens and a glance. And because the Rhino was wholly within 18 inches of that gate, Alistair had a 5 cover save, and he made all bar 2, which was unbelievable. The pens went through, and luckily a 6 was rolled and it exploded the vehicle, but it could so easily have gone the other way. The units disembarked or emergency disembarked, but 2 were killed in the blast, so a reasonable result. The 2 Thalax next to the Sons of Horus Rhino fired their lightning guns into the side of it, got 1 glance, 1 pen, but amazingly that gate conferred its invulnerable save onto the Rhino and no damage was caused. Very, very disappointing. The Thalax will now have to charge it. The Thalax cohort here, sandwiched between the building and the Trios armoured conveyor, fired 5 lightning guns into the front of that Spartan, 4 hits, and unbelievably rolled 3 glances, which was fantastic, taking the last 2 hull points from that vehicle and wrecking it. That was a great result for the Auto Reductor. The Thalax here fired into the front of the Sons of Horus Walker. Only one of the photon thrusters hit and managed to cause a glancing hit on the Contemptor. It failed its invulnerable save, but the blind check was passed. The Thalax have a decision to make now. Will they charge in and try and do it with their melter bombs, or will they do as before and scuttle behind the crates, ready to strike in the next turn? Auto Reductor, turn 3 assault phase. The Archmados Reductor made it into combat with the Contemptor Dreadnought, and the 2 Thalax made their charge inside of that Rhino. Let's hope they can make a better effort than they're shooting. Thankfully, the Thalax in combat with the Rhino fared a lot better, one of their melter bombs being clamped in place and then scoring an exploded result on the damage chart. Brilliant news. No casualties were caused on the Sons of Horus, so that was a really great result, really helping towards that Blood Feud target. Combat between the Archmados Reductor, the Sons of Horus Dreadnought, and the 3 Thalax started with Initiative 4. The Dreadnought went in with 3 attacks, got 1 hit, and squashed 1 of the Thalax. At Initiative 1, the Archmados Reductor and the Thalax all planted their mortar bombs against the Sons of Horus Contemptor, but they all failed to penetrate its armour. That is bad news. At the end of the combat between the Contemptor, the Thalax, and the Magos Reductor, they all passed their leadership test thanks to being stubborn, so it kept them in the fight. A little bit disappointed they didn't take them out. However, in other news, this unit thrust move 8 inches. They need to break out of this deployment zone. Do realise that there will be a Contemptor and a Landspeeder to deal with, but it's a chance they've got to take. And this unit here rolled a double 1 for their thrust move, so it was pretty bad. On the whole, really pleased with the way the game's going now. The Mechanicum finally bust out of their deployment zone, and they are starting to make an impression on the Sons of Horus.
Sons of Horus turn 4 movement. The goalie has once more lined up a shot against the Krachnos, hoping for a repeat of last turn, which was fantastic. In the centre of the board, the veteran squad in their Rhino have continued to push up towards the rest of the battle. There's 2 plasma guns in there, so hopefully they'll be able to do some damage. The 2 tactical squads that have been taken out of their Rhinos will now be staying still in order to Fury of the Legion at the 2 Thalax. Hopefully they'll die as well. In the centre of the board, at the end of the board with the Mechanicum, the Contemptor Dreadnought had a real choice there between the 2 Thalax units, one of which is vulnerable thanks to its 2-inch thrust move. It went for the easier target, even though there was more Thalax in there, so time will tell whether that's a good decision or not. And finally, the Landspeeder on a single hull point has come out of hiding to pour some shots into the Thalax hiding at the back of the board. Sons of Horus turn 4 shooting, and another beautiful moment as the Venator fires its laser destroyer straight into the Krachnos and once more explodes it, this time causing a mighty 2 explode results with 2 shots. Fantastic work. After some stellar work from the Venator at the back of the board, the Landspeeder then opens up with its weapons into the Thalax, really hoping to repeat some success. However, not much happens. The combined total of wounds from both the Volkite and the Heavy Bolter is only 1 wound on the Thalax. Not great. Both attack squads then took revenge for the destruction of their transports. They both furied of the Legion at the Thalax in front of them, killing it. The Rhino containing the veterans has raced forward past the Chaos Gate, moving flat out another 6 inches. The Contemptor then fired its assault cannon straight into the Thalax, managing a mighty 6 hits and 5 wounds, killing 1 Thalax and putting 1 on a single wound. Great work. It then fired its Graviton gun, which missed spectacularly, landing in the middle of nowhere. Sons of Horus turn 4 assault phase. The Contemptor charged into the Thalax. They produced a lot of noise with their Overwatch, but unfortunately nothing converted into a hull point, despite some very lucky 6s to hit. The Hammer of Wrath attack from the Contemptor then caused a wound, but the armour save was passed, so nothing happened. The Contemptor then swung at Initiative 4, unfortunately only causing 2 hits, which did both wound, so there were 2 dead Thalax. Not great. The Thalax then swung back with 4 Melter Bomb attacks at Initiative 1, causing 2 hits, which both caused penetrating hits, neither of which exploding it, but the Dreadnought is now wrecked. A real turn for the Mechanicum at the end of this turn. The Contemptor in the ongoing combat was hot garbage. 3 attacks and 3 misses. Disastrous. The Mechanicum then swung back with their Melter Bombs. The Thalax followed the Dreadnought's lead and missed. However, the Archmagos Reductor, with his Master of Destruction special rule, giving him +1 on the damage table, and +2 from the fact that the Melter Bomb was AP1, was in a good place to destroy it. However, despite causing a penetrating hit from the Melter Bomb, it only managed to roll a 1 on the damage chart, which is a crew stunned result, which has no further effect in this combat. So, combat continues. End of Sons of Horus turn 4. A real mixed bag for the Sons this turn. Both Contemptors failing to do much damage, and actually most Sons of Horus units failing to do much damage to the Mechanicum at all. It looks like they might be able to break out of their deployment zone this turn, despite the dominance of the Venator at the back. So real mixed turn for the Sons of Horus again.
Order Reductor, turn 4 movement, and this is the time to now strike on the Sons of Horus. The Triaris armour conveyor has shot forward 12 inches and has rammed that Rhino carrying the vets. We'll resolve that at the end of the phase. The 2 Cryos Venators have stayed still, and they plan to pour all of their firepower into the Sons of Horus troops. Now, you would say, well, why didn't you go for the Venator at the back there? But I reckon I can hold him at bay for 1 more turn, so we'll see what happens. The Thalax over on this side have moved past that Dreadnought they destroyed in combat, and they will hopefully either finish the Rhino off or they will take shots at the troops inside. And then finally, this unit here, we might go for the jet bike, or we might shoot 2 photon thruster shots all the way down long range into the rear armour of that Venator. We will have to have a think. At the end of the movement phase, the Triaris armour conveyor rammed the Rhino carrying the vets, and it was the haywire attack that put a whole point on it, which was brilliant news. But the Strength 9 ram attack was saved by the invulnerable save conferred by the Warp Gate. The 2 Cryos Venators fired 8 shots from their high-powered weaponry into the tactical squad in front of the gate. Got 6 hits, 5 wounds, but the gate stopped 3 of them, giving them an invulnerable save and only killing 2 from that tactical squad. That was not good. Next to fire was this Thalax unit here, just in front of the Contemptor Dreadnought. In the end, we decided to go against the Rhino. We got 1 hull point off it with a photon thruster, which was great news. And then this unit on here, as much as they would have loved to have taken out the land speeder, they had to go for the Rhino because they need the point, and they took the final hull point off it, wrecking it, and the squad has disembarked. Both squads will make full use of their thrust moves to stay out of harm's way from both of the emerging units and the land speeder. Order Reductor turn 4 assault phase started badly for the Order Reductor. The Dreadnought decided to target the HQ for the Order Reductor, swung 3 times, got 1 hit, 1 wound, And it was a nervous moment where the Mechanicum rolled a 1 and he was squashed by the power fist, or the chain fist rather, of the dreadnought. So that is Warlord kill for the Sons of Horus. Next to strike are the 2 Thalax with melter bombs. The Thalax, seeing the Warlord being crushed underneath the fist of the Contemptor, struck back with the melter bombs, clamped 2 in place, and took the final hull point off it, exploding it, taking no damage in return, and they are now poised, ready to take on the rest of the Sons of Horus in the next turn. At the end of the assault phase, the Thalax unit that were here just in front of that dreadnought have thrust moved 8 inches into the cover of that building. There's a lot of firepower now coming from the troops of the Sons of Horus. And this unit here that were in front of the land speeder have just scuttled behind the Spartan, and they will pop out in the next turn, hopefully.
Sons of Horus, turn 5, movement phase. Penultimate turn of the game, so really important phase. The land speeders moved up to threaten the Thalax hiding behind the wrecked Spartan. The veteran squad have moved up, hoping their plasma guns will do some damage to that the Trias armour conveyor, and the tactical squad have moved up to support, just in case we need to chip off a hull point in combat. The other tactical squad have moved up towards the Venators, hoping to threaten them at some point later. And the daddy, the man of the match so far, the Venator, has moved up to line up a shot on its opposing number, hoping to take out one of them this turn. Sons of Horus, turn 5 shooting. Starting things off was the Venator. He's been non-stop all game. However, this turn, double miss. Nothing happened. Making up for it, the veterans then fired on the armoured conveyor, scoring 4 hits from their plasma guns and 2 penetrating hits, which led to an explode result, killing the armoured conveyor, really making up for the Venator's pathetic attempt. The land speeder then fired and again suffered a bit of a wet turn, only causing a single wound onto the Thalax. The 2 tactical squads, freed up from having to do anything against the armoured conveyor, both ran, however making sure they kept within that 18-inch bubble of protection that the Chaos Gate is offering. At the end of the penultimate turn for the Sons of Horus, it's again a real mixed bag. There's a lot of stuff on the table at this point, however, not that much is destructive. It's really just infantry left, and a Venator and a land speeder, which has been doing nothing this turn. So really it's anyone's game at this point.
Auto Reductor, turn 5 movement. The Reductor know it makes sense to get rid of the Venator because it's worth 2 victory points. But if they stay where they are, that unit of Sons of Horus will move forward and assault and destroy both of those Venators. So the Mechanicum can't have that. They've moved back and they will target that unit, hopefully wiping them out or keeping them at bay. This unit, or these 2 units rather, will combine all of their firepower and either finish off this unit or try and kill that unit and charge it afterwards. That will put the Mechanicum in a very strong position. We're not too worried about the Venator just yet. They'll need a miracle to get the old one shot on the 2 Venators next turn, but we'll see what happens. And then these Thalax here will shoot and charge that land speeder, netting the Mechanicum another point. Auto Reductor, turn 5 shooting. The 2 Thalax armoured photon thrusters fired into the land speeder. They were unable to jink it, and it crashed and burned. So that is another point for the Auto Reductor. The Krass Venator fired 8 times into the Sons of Horus tactical squad. Only got 4 hits, 2 wounds, and one of them was saved by the gate, killing the lead Sons of Horus warrior. That was absolutely appalling. The 2 squads combined all of their firepower into this tactical squad, but it was extremely unsuccessful. There was only about 3 shots that went in, and they were all saved via the warp gate there. Really, really bad. We're going to have to charge them now. I think it was a very, very silly move to do that. Auto Reductor, turn 5 assault phase. In the end, the Thalax decided not to charge the Sons of Horus. They had hoped to fare a little bit better, and because they didn't, it was just going to be an absolute wipeout. So they've gone into self-preservation mode. But the rearmost squad managed a 12 on their thrust move, which took them completely over the building, and the other unit rolled an 8, which was brilliant. Next, this squad over on the left-hand side here rolled 7, and they moved into position to maybe get some shots off on the veterans in the next turn.
Sons of Horus, turn 6 movement. Final turn in the game. Let's start with the Venator. It's moved up to shoot at the opposing Venators. It's in range of both of them with its weapons, so maybe something crazy might happen this turn. Who knows? The tactical squads in the middle have moved up to take some shots down at the Thalax that have retreated away from them. Hopefully might chip away a few of them, maybe even cause a morale check. And the veterans as well have moved up to take some shots at the same Thalax unit. Everyone's keeping within 18 inches of that Chaos Gate, really to keep that bonus going, just to kind of keep squads alive in the next turn. Sons of Horus, turn 6 shooting. Final shot from the Venator, a bit disappointing, takes only 2 hull points off the opposing Venator, but does stun it, so it will only be firing snapshots next turn. Not the best result, but it does reduce the output of the Mechanicum next turn. So to finish the shooting phase for the Sons of Horus, everyone opened up on some Thalax in the building. A lot of shots. One of the units, Fury of the Legion, managing to score 36 hits total from that unit. However, even with the plasma from the veterans, only 2 wounds were caused on the Thalax, not even killing one of them. Deeply disappointing. At the end of the final turn for the Sons of Horus, they've been destroying things all game. However, in the final turn, they just couldn't quite clinch it, and nothing's happened. Really disappointing not to pick up any kill points in this last turn. We'll have to see what happens next.
Auto Reductor, turn 6 movement, and this is the final turn of the game, and the Auto Reductor need to kill that Venator for 2 victory points. The Thalax have come out of hiding, and they will try and bring their weapons to bear to kill one of the squads in front of them. It's a tall order, but they're going to try. Auto Reductor, turn 6 shooting phase. The Cryos Venators targeted the Sons of Horus Venator. The lead one, which was snap shooting, got 1 hit, and the one behind got 3 hits, and that was enough to take 3 hull points from the Sons of Horus Venator at last. One was saved by the warp gate, but a 6 was rolled on the damage chart and it exploded, putting an end to its destructive reign of terror on the Auto Reductor. All 3 Thalax cohorts converged all of their firepower, lightning guns, photon thrusters into the tactical squad in the middle there, and only managed to kill 4 of them. That save from the warp gate really helped them out. Otherwise, they would have been wiped off, scoring the Auto Reductor another point. That is the end of the game, and I have to say, what a hell of a game it was. We are now going to tot at victory points. I have a feeling it's extremely close. That was Game 6 of Harvest on the Black Sands. Alistair, I'm exhausted.
Me too. That was A, one of the best Heresy games I've ever played.
Yeah.
And B, exhausting. It was just so much thinking. It was so intense throughout, you know, because there was, like I said, throughout the game, I was boxing you in, but not doing the damage.
Yeah.
And you were not able to break out,
yeah,
but just doing some damage back. And so it was just such a swingy game.
I think at the end, you said about boxing the Mechanicum in, you did that to great effect because I was so nervous getting those Venators out because I wanted to take your Venator out earlier because I didn't want you to take mine out. But those tactical squads, they worried me because I knew if they got to me, they would assault and kill me and I would be absolutely screwed. But I think you did an absolutely stellar job of just, you put me where you wanted me.
Yeah,
And it was great. But the results are very interesting, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
We had to recount this twice just to make sure. We'll start with Sons of Horus, I think. I've got lots of notes in front of me, so please bear with me. I'm quite good at getting this wrong. Death toll, you scored 7 points. Took out 7 of the Mechanicum units. Your blood feud targets, you got an additional point for every vehicle you destroyed, and you scored 5. And then you killed the Warlord unceremoniously with your chain fist.
Just crushed him down with the fist of the contender.
Scoring the Sons of Horus 13 victory points, which is a fantastic score. However, the auto reductor did all right. Death toll, we managed to kill 12 units.
Yeah.
That's a huge amount. We got Warlord, Price of Failure for the Knight, which I completely forgot about. Last man standing, because there was more units left in the game.
By one.
Yes.
Yeah, if you hadn't killed that last Venator, that would have been no one's point.
It's good. And then finally, 5 points for Blood Feud, which was very, very for the tanks. Taking the Mechanicum to 20 points. So final scores, 20 for the Auto Reductor, 13 to the Sons of Horus. And that was one hell of a victory.
Yeah.
Hell of a victory. However, in the grand scheme of things, it's a draw.
Yeah, absolutely. Early wins for the Sons of Horus.
Amazing.
Yeah, and later wins for the Mechanicum. So a real shift overall. But yeah, no, it was a hell of an intense thing to come down to a draw at the end. So maybe, next year we do some kind of rematch of some kind.
We should do something, I think.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
But let's not forget why we were playing. The Sons of Horus have been corralling all of these alpha level psychers to pop them under.
Ready to send them straight into the war on the webway. That Chaos Gate was ready to take them. However, the Mechanicum have triumphed on the field.
Stopped.
And through a very bloody kind of game in the end. Managed to stop those reinforcements getting through. So
hopefully the war on Terra will go a little bit easier, knowing there's not a few more psychers to deal with. I thought that was a fantastic series. I loved the fact that it gave Alistair the drive to get his units done.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm kind of famous for flitting between projects and just never getting stuff finished, and particularly lacking the focus to finish an army off. So the fact that I've got 2,500 points of Sons of Horus painted this year,
amazing.
I'm feeling quite impressed about that. So that's been a fantastic result this series, seeing that done. Real shame that I didn't get that Typhon done, but other than that, it's been great.
It's good, eh? And it also pushed me to finish the Kreknos and the rest of the Mechanicum army, and that's now freed me up to do more terrain for Adeptus Titanicus and some of the bits and bobs I've got coming on soon. So I'm really pleased to have done that, because I kept going upstairs into my little painting room and looking at them thinking, oh God, I've got to do it. But really, it probably only took me 3 days of solid painting to finish them off. So
I mean, so jealous. This took me a month or something. It's just
tough.
Yeah. And I'd like to give a shout out as well to Dan Porter, who kind of airbrushed some of my tanks just to get, because it takes so many layers to get that really smooth green. So he was just able to kind of saved me about 20 layers of paint by airbrushing that green, just so I kind of a couple of layers of the green just got it really even. And also to Keith Vazzy, who built every single one of my vehicles.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Absolute hero.
Good on him.
I did pay him.
So
he didn't do it out of the goodness of his own heart. But really, really good turnaround. Yeah. Genuinely couldn't done without him.
Okay, well that's good. That's really good. So thanks so much for Dan and Keith for doing that. Let's quickly talk about the units we've brought back. We'll start with Sons of Horus. You brought it at Venator.
I mean, do I need to explain it? I mean, the last 2 turns really didn't do that much, but for 4 turns of the game, pretty much destroyed a vehicle every turn.
It was one hit, one kill.
Yeah, so you can't ask for much more than that, really. Obvious why he's back here, and
he's just been consistent across all of your games.
Yeah.
And I really struggled to get that one hit, one kill, but you've just gone.
It's just that it's the strength 10.
Yeah.
So you get that +1 strength, and the AP 1 gives you +1 on the damage chart. So effectively doubles your chances of getting that explode result. So
AP 1 is +2.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So although you're getting less shots, you're getting more quality out of your shots. So it's my favourite kind of Sakharon. Absolutely love it. It does one thing and it does it pretty well.
Yeah.
Absolutely clear why this is man of the match.
No doubt. I was torn between bringing back my Venator, but in the end I brought back the Thalax, because essentially when I sold the Legio Cybernetica army, I went to a Reductor army, and the entire list was 3k of Thalax, and I wasn't really favourable of these models in the past. I always loved the Castellax more. That's why I went Cybernetica. But I've grown to love the Thalax, and they are such a flexible army, and they appeal to my personality. I'm a kind of all or nothing guy, and I have to play my heart out on every single game. And the Thalax is a really hard army to get right. But if you play your heart out, it works really well, and it plays to my kind of emotive gaming experience. But then adding in the tanks has really added extra layers and elements to the army. But I brought back the Lodi Thalax. They did well.
Well, they were pretty much all of them left at the end of the game.
Yeah,
you're taking some damage from units, but 3 of the 4 units of Thalax that you had were there at the end of the game. So they're just so hard to deal with. Either you have to be doubling them out and just getting rid of them really quickly with kind of high strength weaponry, or it's just that attrition, and I really struggle with that. So it was definitely they were the unit that I kind of fear, because obviously you got to deal with the tanks and stuff. But it's like eating your vegetables. You can't have the lovely sweet thing of like, oh, I've just one shot in the tank, brilliant. You've just got to slog through one green pea at a time. And eventually you kill them all. But it was...
They're a grind, aren't they?
Yeah, a real grind to kill.
Well, I love them, and they were the absolute backbone of the army, and I think without them, like you said, one shot, one kill, the army would have folded quite quickly. So they did all right. I have to say a massive thank you to Alistair for persisting with this series. It's taken us nearly 6-7 months to get it done. But I think if you watch all the games back, I think the narrative running through it and the armies and the battlefields have just played into an amazing series of games. Yeah,
absolutely. I've really enjoyed playing, kind of building and playing. So thank you so much for getting that motivation to get that army done.
Great.
So there's a few final bits I just need to do. There's like a Typhon, a kind of a Moritat, Horus. Horus is coming.
The man.
I'm going for my birthday. A couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago. There's a few more bits coming for Sons of Horus, but they're nearly finished.
Great.
It's just been fantastic as an opportunity to do that.
My pleasure. And we must thank Alistair again, because he's come away from Birmingham. He's had trains, he had delays. We didn't pick him up from the train station until 10:30 last night.
Yeah, I know. It was a train journey from hell. Everything was cancelled.
It was bad.
None of the toilets worked. It was miserable. But we got there.
We got to bed, I think, about 12 o'clock last night, and we were up nice and early to start the game. But as always, there has been a ton of photos from this game, so please go to the Facebook page to see those photos. Love to hear your comments. We touched earlier about your comments. I'm going to reinforce this again. If you think you can do better, send me an email and we'll get you on the channel. That's all I will say. If you're going to sit there and comment, get your ass over to the channel and prove you can do it better, because I don't think it's as easy as you think it is. I've got my little bit out of the way. I'm done now. I'll step down off my soapbox. Alistair, on Instagram, where can we find you?
Just my name. My Instagram account is my name. I'm sure you put it up.
I will try.
Haven't been posting that much recently because my masters is basically
busy.
My painted time. But there's kind of all of the models that have been featured in this series are now up on Instagram. So you're welcome to come have a look through. And there's a tutorial for painting Sons of Horus as well. So any questions about how I've kind of achieved various effects, I'm happy to answer.
Great stuff. And as always, the channel's on Instagram too. If you would like to run your own series of linked games on the channel, please get in touch on social media. We can have a chat about it, talk about the armies, talk about what you want to achieve, and I would happily host a series of games for you, like Alistair and I have done for Harvest on the Black Sands. That's all we've got. Alistair, thanks again.
No worries. Thank you very much for hosting me.
My pleasure. And we will see you in the next one.